A relationship with the right referral partner could be a game changer for any B2B company. So what if you could reverse engineer these relationships at a moment's notice? Start a podcast, invite potential referral partners to be guests on your show, and grow your referral network faster than ever. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to B2B Growth, a daily podcast for B2B leaders. We've interviewed names you've probably heard before, like Gary Vaynerchuk and Simon Sinek, but you've probably never heard from the majority of our guests. That's because the bulk of our interviews aren't with professional speakers and authors. Most of our guests are in the trenches leading sales and marketing teams. They're implementing strategy. They're experimenting with tactics. They're building the fastest growing B2B companies in the world. My name is James Carberry. I'm the founder of Sweetfish Media, a podcast agency for B2B brands, and I'm also one of the co-hosts of this show. When we're not interviewing sales and marketing leaders, you'll hear stories from behind the scenes of our own business. We'll share the ups and downs of our journey as we attempt to take over the world. Just kidding. Well, maybe. Let's get into the show.
Welcome back to B2B Growth. I am your host for today's episode, Nikki Ivy with Sweetfish Media. Guys, I've got with me today Robert Glazer, who is founder and CEO of Acceleration Partners. Robert, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Nikki?
I'm doing well. Like you and I talked about offline, we're both sort of getting back into the swing of things, remembering how to put sentences together after a long vacation.
How to do work, yeah.
How to do work and things. But this topic that we're going to talk about is something I'm really excited to get into with you. It has to do with affiliate marketing and why the way that you guys at Acceleration Partners approach it is it a unique little nuance, a nice little spin that I can't wait for you to get into for our listeners. But before we do any of that, I'd love it if you would just give us some background on yourself and what you and the folks at Acceleration Partners have been up to these days.
Sure. So my name is Bob Glazer, and as you said, I'm the founder of Acceleration Partners. We are a global affiliate and partner marketing firm, so we help clients design and grow their partner marketing programs. We've been busy growing our business. Our big growth expansion has been international, getting our UK team up to almost 20 this quarter and getting close to 10 in Asia as we really try to differentiate by helping clients create global programs. So that's what we do. How we do it is we have really focused on building one of the best companies, small businesses in America, I think. We've been really fortunate to be recognized by Glassdoor 2 years in a row as the best place to work, Forbes, one of the best small businesses, Inc. Great Place to Work, Entrepreneur, great culture. So that's really the foundation of getting great people, having a great culture, and then our product really innovates itself from there.
I love it. I love so much that you start with culture and that, we didn't start with any, granular ins and outs of your elevator pitch. I mean, I love a good pitch, right? But
like in digital marketing, what you do needs to evolve every year. And I think if you find great people and train them, you evolve it. If we just focused on the product and not the people, we're not making widgets. We're selling services. So it really is about the people.
I love it. And it sort of goes into what we're talking about today, which is, like we said, affiliate marketing, but more specifically partner marketing and why you believe that is the next iteration of affiliate marketing as we know it and what you guys call performance partnerships. So what does performance partnerships mean exactly?
So what's interesting is I think the affiliate model, and affiliate is not really a channel, it's a model, has always been one that would be really attractive to companies where you determine what you're willing to pay for an outcome, whether that's a lead or a sale, and pay for your marketing after you get the sale. So if you say, hey, look, I'll pay for up to infinity, 8% of all revenue that you can generate for new customers, and I pay you after, everyone would say, I'd love to do that. When it was sort of called affiliate marketing, it was done through networks where you would pick a place where you would have a network and you would house your program. And a lot of times you wouldn't know a lot about these partners, or they would come to you from the network and you'd pay a performance fee. Also a good model. You'd say, you know what, I'll pay the affiliate their commission, and then I'll pay the network who helps bring me these partners a percentage on top of that. And that's all great. but it was kind of a co-op model. And what's happened is that the technology has started to become available directly to companies to license and pay a fixed fee. And so they can use this automation to bring on partners and give them real-time performance and track and pay and measure everything. But they control that, and it's under their brand. And so what happened was you had this affiliate program, and then you had all this partner activity going in the company, which was tracked in spreadsheets and UTM parameters and people writing checks and sending reports, because they didn't want to take the relationships that they had procured and sort of put them on a third-party service and then have to pay a performance fee, to work with those people. They said, well, so I'll pay the performance fee on the relationships that you bring, but then I have these other ones that I'll do with all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. Then eventually it converged, where the software just became available to the companies to do all of this in one place. And so the really smart companies have taken their partner marketing and part of their business development and part of their social media and their affiliate program. They've wrapped it all into one partner program and now are running that in one place. And basically it's a scalable way to run business development. If you have 1,000 partners that do $500 in sale a month, but you have them on this software and on this technology, and you don't have to talk to all of them and answer their calls and mail them their check, and they really like something and they write about it that month and promote it, it starts to roll up into a meaningful channel.
Scalable approach to business development. Why? Sign me up. Listen. So that kind of leads me into my next question, right? I know that what you're saying makes so much sense, especially for folks who are already doing some version, some iteration of affiliate marketing. Talk a little bit about specifically how folks, where to begin, folks want to go about building this kind of model into their business.
Yeah. So, if they want to begin, we've got a ton of content on our website. We actually have a whole affiliate marketing 101 page on accelerationpartners.com if they want to learn more. But they also, if you're a smaller company, there are some platforms out there like ShareASale that are or AvantLink that are low cost and easy to get started with. I also wrote a book, Performance Partnerships, on the topic for people who want to do the program. But the key is to just run a quality program, even if it's not big. It doesn't have to be big, but you just don't want to set it and forget it. It works for the Ron Popeil rotisserie oven, but it doesn't really work very well for affiliate programs, because you're creating brand people who have licensed your brand and then letting them do whatever they want. It's got to be closely monitored. So I think that spending the time and the resources and doing a simple program is great. Or if you don't know how to do that's where there are agencies out there that can help you and can walk you through the strategy and help pick the platform and do everything for you.
So in your experience, what sets this nuanced approach apart from what folks are doing in the first place? Why does it work?
Yeah, it works because it's results oriented, right? There's some basic overhead costs and some work to do it, but it works because let's bring a real example to this. So let's say you're hosting a podcast and you say, look, I've got a team that does development and all this stuff. It's worth $50 for me for a qualified guest that I accept. So instead of hiring someone on your team to do that, you go to the world and you say, send us qualified guests, and you have a form. And for every guest that you accept, you pay that partner, $50. You would say, this is great because I only have to pay the $50 when I find one that's great and I accept it. Why instead of building my own team, why don't I just, kind of push this out to the world for people to go do this work for me who have a broader reach. So, that's why it works, because the economics, right now you've got everyone saying that the Facebook, Google duopoly, it's just getting more and more expensive. Their revenue's not up, but the costs are higher. In our world, the costs never change. If Amazon says, Nikki, when you list my book at the end of this podcast and you do an affiliate link and we'll pay you 5%, they'll pay you 5% for the first $10 or the first $10 million. They don't care, because if that's a good number for them, then there should be no budget. If it was 20%, then they'd say, oh, well, that's too expensive. But the cost of sale is known in advance and stays the same. Whereas you think of the rest of the digital marketing world, you spend the money, then you get the sale, then you try to calculate whether it was a good investment or not.
So what types of businesses or what sizes of businesses does this a model work best for? And are there, types of businesses that this maybe isn't an ideal approach?
Yeah, it works. Well, the approach I think is ideal everywhere. It's just maybe hard to scale. But so it works best with consumer facing businesses who close a transaction online, because that's when the tracking works at its best, which is if you're selling something online, if you're taking a lead online, that data can really go right back to the partner in real time, then that's the best possible case. We're seeing, a little harder in B2B, but we're seeing also a little bit of a growth in sort of B to SMB, where they're, small, medium-sized businesses that are kind of almost targeting small and medium-sized businesses, like almost as a consumer, are finding luck, particularly small businesses with the partner and affiliate model.
Yeah, I think it's important that you talked about that. A lot of these conversations, no matter what it is, right? Whether we're talking about the next most effective approach that folks need to be taking in marketing, are either talking about B2C, or when they talk about B2B, they're talking about a larger business than a lot of folks could even be able to relate to or take advantage of. And most of my experience when I was, out here in these Austin startup streets was selling to small and medium-sized businesses. And you're right, it does function a lot like just selling to a consumer, because oftentimes you're talking to the person who owns the business, who is also the practitioner there. And those conversations don't take place very differently than if you were talking to a consumer. So I think that you're right.
And where this works well is where you can aggregate some smaller people that wouldn't have been worth the work if you had to do a custom agreement. So the example I always give, we worked with Shutterfly years ago, and they had these thousands of photographers that wanted to partner with them for, their holiday cards, and they wanted a landing page and they wanted a coupon, and just the BD team was like, look, we can't, by the time you get done with the tax forms, it's just not worth it. And what we did was we loaded them all into the affiliate program. We said, look, here's how you do this. You log in, you can get your banners, here's the links. And we had about 1,000 of them do about $1,000. So like, if you do the math, like that's $1 million. And we're able, that's a good amount of revenue, but totally scalable, because we're not talking we're pushing the offers through the system. We're not talking to all of them. We're not writing checks to them. We're not asking them for tax form. All of that was handled by technology and software, and they could do as much or a little as they want. So that's like a perfect example of where you can turn an aggregation of a lot of smaller players into a meaningful number.
This is really great. I love the way that you laid this out. Like I think I mentioned to you offline, I haven't had anybody on the show to sort of give these types of bits of information to our listeners. And so I'm really glad you did that. And now that I've successfully picked your brain and seen what I could get out of it, it's time for you to talk to me about what you're putting in it. So Bob, tell me, what learning resources have you been engaging with that have been informing your approach, or that have just got you excited these days?
So I'm a big fan of peer learning and mastermind groups. I'm in a few of like forums and groups like this where I meet regularly. We have accountability, share ideas and best practices. And I come out of those with, lists of things to do, or I describe a challenge and 4 other people have been through that, similar challenge. Mm-hmm. So if you're not in one of these groups and you're not in an organization like EO or YPO or otherwise, I'd really try to find a peer group that sort of meets in that forum structure once a month, because I found it invaluable.
Perfect. I haven't gotten that answer before. I'm writing it down. One of my favorite things is when I'm taking notes on this show, not as a sort of like podcaster lady journalist, but as a student, and I get to actually learn something that I can use in my day-to-day. So thank you so much for that. I know folks who are listening are going to want to follow along with what you're doing, because you've sort of dropped some jewels on us here. How can folks connect with you?
Sure. A couple different ways. If you want to read all the content our company has to offer and learn about affiliate marketing in the book, you can go to accelerationpartners.com or Google that if you don't want to try to spell it, because somehow people can't spell acceleration. I have all my personal stuff at books and information about me at robertglazer.com. And last is there's a note I started to my team about 4 years ago, sort of a weekly inspiration note, which came called Friday Forward. That sort of spread and now reaches over 100,000 people each Friday. So if you're interested in getting just some thoughts about improving or getting better, reflections each Friday, you can also sign up for that at fridayfwd.com.
Perfect. Will do. Thank you so much for being on the show. This has been a blast. We'll have to have you on here again in the future once these new developments start to happen with performance partnerships. Thanks so much, Bob.
Thanks, Nikki.
We totally get it. We publish a ton of content on this podcast, and it can be a lot to keep up with. That's why we've started the B2B Growth Big Three, a no-fluff email that boils down our 3 biggest takeaways from an entire week of episodes. Sign up today at sweetfishmedia.com/big3. That's sweetfishmedia.com/big3.